So hello and welcome back to Sparkling Autos. Now as you've seen in those shots, the car's in a pretty sorry state. It's been about 4.5 months since it was last cleaned. That would have been before we moved house, and that was back in October time. Now even then, it only had a coating of a quick detailer put on. It had no protection on it whatsoever. So before I do give it a clean today, I just want to talk about a video some of you may have seen recently from John at Forensic Detailing channel about pre-rinsing the car and is it really necessary. Now I've been cleaning cars since before I could reach the pedals, and I've always pre-rinsed them beforehand. So I was kind of a bit confused by what John was saying. I thought I'm going to give this a bit more in-depth look myself and see exactly, do I agree with his approach or do I agree with my own and stick with the pre-rinsing. Now one of the issues that John mentioned was in terms of diluting the pre-wash products that you're putting on the car. Now what I tend to do is pre-rinse my car and allow it to dry while I'm cleaning the wheels, and that negates the fact that you may actually be further diluting the products. But what I'll do today is I'm going to pre-rinse half the boot, tailgate, whatever you want to call it, and leave the other half as is, go around and do the wheels and then allow it to dry and put the pre-wash on and see if there's any difference from one side to the other. But I've waffled enough. You didn't tune in here to watch me talking to the camera, so let's just get on with cleaning the car and see if there is any difference between the pre-rinse and not pre-rinse. That is the question. As I've just explained then, I'm going to pre-rinse half of the boot or tailgate and then allow it to dry and apply our snow foam pre-wash product. What I want to see is, does removing the top layer of dirt make any difference to what the pre-wash product actually does? Now as I said in the intro, I have always pre-rinsed my cars because I do believe, or have always believed, that it does make a difference taking that top layer off. But I'm going to carry out a fair test and it'll be interesting to see the results at the end. So while the boot lid dries off, I'm going to go around and do all four wheels. So I'm going to give them a pre-wash first of all with ANTI-KINK Automotive Cleanse, which is an acid-free wheel cleaner that I like to spray on, leave for 5 minutes and rinse off, just like I would do with the bodywork with any other pre-wash product. Now the footage is being sped up significantly here because I'm doing all four wheels at the same time and we want to get back to what we're actually testing in this video. So under the contact of the wheels, and the downside of moving house is there's always something that you can't find. In my case at the minute, it's the soft microfiber brush I use for doing these gloss back wheels. So in the meantime, I'm just going to have to stick with doing the wheel faces in behind the spokes and the tyres. And off camera I have a bucket with about 10 litres of warm water and 20ml of Garage Therapy wheel shampoo. And for the tyres then, just going over once again with the ANTI-KINK Automotive Cleanse, which, like any other good wheel cleaner, is also perfect for doing the tyres. So as you can see here, by the time I'm doing the second scrub, the foam's coming up white, tyres are clean. Detail guard replaced, and on we go. So after spending roughly 30 minutes or so cleaning all four wheels, we can go back to the rear end of the car, and as you can see here, it's pretty much completely dry. I did just have a few issues trying to get the camera to focus on the panel. With our test area now dry, this negates one of the points that John made, which was if you're using the pre-wash product on a panel that you've already wet, you're further diluting the product. So by allowing the panel to dry thoroughly, we've removed that variable from the test. On with our pre-wash product now, and for this part of the test I've chosen to use Garage Therapy Snow Foam, which is a maintenance snow foam product, and I'm using it well below the minimum recommended dilution ratio. So what I've actually done is made a solution with 25ml of this product to 450ml of water. And my reason for doing that is the last thing I want to do here at this part of the test is remove all the dirt and all the traffic film from the car, because that then won't tell me whether pre-rinsing made any difference. I want to see, is there a difference in the level of dirt between the two sides, but I still need a visible amount of dirt or traffic film there to be able to judge that. I really hope that made sense because it started to sound quite gibberish towards the end of that sentence. There are two things that I should stress here. Number one, this is not a test of the pre-wash product. As I have just rather confusingly explained, I'm using a deliberately weak mixture because I don't want to remove everything from the car. So this isn't to test the pre-wash itself, this is to test if pre-rinsing has made a difference. The second point I want to stress, which I mentioned in the introduction, is there's absolutely no protection on this car whatsoever, so that may have an effect on the overall result. So after about 5 minutes dwell time, sped up for your convenience, it's time to remove the product and see exactly what we're looking at. And rather surprisingly then, certainly from my perspective, as you can see moving across between the two sections, that there is absolutely no difference either side. Now you can see that there is some film being removed on the right hand side, which means that the product is doing something, but it hasn't done any more or less on the side which was pre-rinsed compared to the side which wasn't pre-rinsed. But we'll get the rest of the product off the back end and take a closer look at it. So as we can see here, while some traffic film was removed, there is absolutely no visible difference between the left and right sides, which I find rather surprising. But I said a fair test, and this is a fair test. So onwards with the next part of the test, and what I'm doing now is increasing this to a much stronger solution. This is the strongest recommended on the bottle, which is 150 mils of product to 350 mils of water. Now I know from my own experience that this is going to remove the overwhelming majority of the film that's on the car, but it's not going to remove everything, and as I've said, this is not a test of the product, this is a test of a process, whether or not we should be pre-rinsing. Moving horizontally along the tailgate again, and you can see that this has had a massive impact on both sides of it where the traffic film remained. It could also be highlighted that the panel was actually still wet when I applied this second solution, and it doesn't seem to have any impact on its performance. Moving on then to the passenger side or near side, which hasn't been pre-rinsed as you can clearly see. And what we're going to do this time is apply a traffic film remover on it, in this case ANTI-KINK Automotive Articulate, and blanket over that with the remaining stronger snow foam solution from the back end. You can see already, if you look under the two passenger side doors, the amount of dirt coming off the side of the car is shocking. I guess this is what happens if you neglect your car for 4 months and you live in the countryside. Time now then for what, in my opinion, is one of the most satisfying parts of washing a car, particularly a white car. And that is removing your pre-wash product from the front doors. The amount of dirt that you can visibly see just washing away, there's something extremely satisfying about it. Not everyone will agree, but I find the two front doors to be the dirtiest parts of the car. But back to the test in hand, and it would appear that not pre-rinsing this door has had no impact on the pre-wash process. So as I remove the pre-wash then from the rest of the car, I've come to the conclusion that certainly in this scenario where the car has no protection on it, and even is heavily laden with traffic film, pre-rinsing didn't seem to make any difference. So I think going forward, I may actually not bother pre-rinsing the car. Another thing to note, whether you want to pre-rinse your car or not, no pre-wash process is going to remove all the dirt. You're still going to have to do a contact wash. So whilst I'm doing a Benny Hill style wash, I'll give you my conclusion to this test. I honestly went into this with the attitude of, I have always pre-rinsed my car, and I've always thought it was better to pre-rinse the car and remove that top heavier layer of film and dirt before proceeding with the chemicals, maybe to give them more of a chance to impact on what's below. But seemingly from this test anyway, it didn't have any impact. The chemicals were still able to do their job on the film that was underneath the top layer of dirt. So I think going forward I'll possibly save myself some time. Now granted, if you've been driving behind a tractor or birds have crapped all over your car, you're going to want to rinse that off first of all. Well, I certainly would, but then you'll want to tackle that straight away rather than waiting until your normal maintenance wash. But this has definitely given me something to think about going forward. That's not to say that you can't pre-rinse. If you want to pre-rinse it. I've always said that from when I started this channel, that you do your process your way and I do mine my way. They may be the same, they may be different, but there's no right or wrong. If you're happy and comfortable with the process, stick with that process. But this has just made me realise that a process I've been doing since I was a child, washing my dad's car, may or may not necessarily be the most efficient process. And there's nothing wrong with that. Because more important than being efficient, it has to be enjoyable. And if you enjoy the process you're doing, stick with it. That's what it's all about at the end of the day. And on that philosophical note, we're coming to the end of this video. Now I didn't get any protection on the car because as you can see in the background, it started raining. I didn't even get it dried off properly. But I'll leave you with a few finishing shots and a very quick preview of what's coming up in my next video. And as always, don't forget to press the like button, subscribe if you haven't already done so, and I'll hopefully see you on the next one. Take care.